Well, hello there, and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. Ooh, woo, if this is your first time feasting on the cornucopia of crime I dish up every week, welcome. Come on in and have a seat. Make yourself comfortable while I break it down what it is I do over here at the Mayhem Factory. You see, I bring you the stories of some of the most heinous, the most diabolical, and downright audacious crimes committed by some melanated baddies that you've probably never heard of. And if you have heard about them, you ain't heard the story the way I tell it, baby. You see, I'm on a mission to dispel this pervasive myth in our community that there are certain types of crimes that Black people don't commit. Let me tell you a secret. Honey, don't believe that fairy tale, honey, because that's cap. We do it all. We been doing it all. And that damn myth is the reason that motherfuckers is getting away with the bullshit because we refuse to believe what is happening right under our noses. Well, okay. I'm going to put my soapbox up and talk to my main apple scrappers. I'm talking about my boo things, the sweet tea in my Arnold Palmer, the cheese in my macaroni, my boos, my loves, my sweet things, my crime cousins, the New Nation. Hey, boops, how y'all doing? How your mama Nia? Can y'all hear it? Can you hear it? I swear Georgia has the most schizophrenic weather on the planet. Baby, please tell me why I am sounding nasally. Y'all, it is like 32 below zero in Georgia today. What is going on? We're going to have 2 days of bone-chilling cold wind that's just blowing for no goddamn reason at all. And then Wednesday, when this episode comes out, it's going to be a balmy 72 degrees. What in the whole hell? Georgia, let me tell you something. It's not with the bullshit. And me and my sensitive nose, I'm going through it. There is no reason that I should be sounding like this because I'm not sick. I feel so good. I'm just cold as fuck. I'm sorry. Can y'all tell that it has been a week already? Y'all, it's only Monday. It's only Monday. Honey, this month is getting right on by, ain't it? We about 2 weeks out from Turkey Day. Y'all ready? I'm not ready. I promise you I'm not ready. And baby, the way these grocery prices is high as giraffe pussy, we gonna have to scale back this year. Honey, y'all seen the pics from last year. You know I love me some Thanksgiving. Oh, it's my most favorite holiday out the year, right behind my birthday. This is my opportunity to cook my family 52 weeks worth of dinners in one go round. Cause y'all know I don't cook no more. Although I've been in the kitchen with my crock pot this year because, baby, these grocery prices, they are not playing. And these out to eat prices, they are not playing either. And the service is bad. And the food quality is like, I can make it myself. So all of that to say, this year is looking like we're going to scale down a little bit. It ain't going to necessarily be the... I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, red, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, it's looking more like it's gonna be a couple of proteins and a couple of sides. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Y'all let me know if you feel me. So what I do know is we're not going into debt for one meal. I promise you that. They're gonna fuck around and see a goddamn hen on the table this year instead of a turkey. Anyway, Lord, I swear, is it just me or is time just flying by? Like, I was getting my hair done the other day. Shout out to my godmother who keeps my hair lush and them grays at bay because, ooh, they so disrespectful. Honey, she was saying, we're going to be saying Happy Mother's Day in a minute. And I was like, dang, we just going to skip over like 7 holidays? Like, for real? But that's really how I be, like, facts. All right. That's enough shooting the shit. New Nation, we got some stuff to do, so let's go and get a couple of church announcements out here. Get your tickets today at Eventbrite, honey, for Season Slayings. You ain't heard about Season Slaying? That's the Black True Crime Collective's next live show. It's a virtual event. Baby, you ain't even got to leave the comfort of your bed to kick it with the country girl. Ooh, we gonna crime it up. We gonna play reindeer games. And the best part, you ain't even got to use your gas or pull that cute outfit out in them shoes that hurt. Matter of fact, what we want you to do is to put on your ugliest Christmas sweater. Oh, because we're giving out prizes for the ugliest and the most creative. Again, you can get your tickets at eventbrite.com. That's Season Slayings with the Black True Crime Collective. All right, that's enough. We're going to have to move on with the business at hand because we got some stuff to talk about today. Y'all remember that I told you that I have mapped out my tales of mayhem for the rest of the year to try to keep my life from going completely off the rails, right? Well, the one I got for you today, I actually told y'all just a teensy-weensy little bit about in a previous episode. That episode was The Stocking Strangler.
Then the funniest shit of all happened. There was a letter mailed to the cops from somebody calling themselves the chairman of the Forces of Evil. The Forces of Evil was supposed to be a group of 7 flower rangers that were supposedly holding a black woman hostage, and they said if the police couldn't figure out who the nigger was, with the hard ER, the nigger, who the nigger was that was killing all the elderbuns, then the Force MDs was gonna go on a killing spree of random black women to even the score. But y'all, it sounded like some good shit, right? But it was all juicy smoothie. I'm talking about from top to bottom, juicy smoothie. Baby, because the Forces of Evil, it was a whole ass nigga named William Henry Hance. Honey, William was doing his own shenanigans, and he was trying to throw the cops off of his scent when he was out here making up this group of white vigilantes. Baby, trust and believe there will be a future episode on William's punk ass because he was doing the most.
Okay, first of all, when I ran that clip, I was like, ooh, honey, your microphone has gotten a whole lot better. Ooh, Jesus. And second of all, bitch, you country as hell. Y'all, we are real comfortable with each other. I don't be country like that except with my people. I'm usually the code switch girl. Oh my God, honey, I'm real comfortable with y'all. I love y'all. This is how I talk with my family. Oh my Lord Jesus, that was a mess. But anyway, yeah. So that one there, I alluded to this story that I'm bringing to you today back when I did the story on the Stocking Strangler, which is also another serial killer that was doing what he do. So yeah, we are going to talk today about that motherfucker. And baby, when I tell you that this here had me kick in because this story is just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean, I'm gonna try to get through this thing without talking too much shit because this is some seriousness that I'm about to tell you about. But I swear, sweet black Jesus, the negaciousness of it all. And to know that it went down in my home state, right here in Georgia, in the red clay, in the city of Columbus. Man, this motherfucker was taking peaches off the board and trying to throw the law off of his scent. No, he wasn't a mastermind per se, but sometimes you prolific for the absolute shit that you got away with that in today's light makes a motherfucker be like, huh? What? When I get through telling you about this audacious character today, honey, all you're going to be able to say is, So shall we go on ahead and get into it? Bringing to the front of the congregation for a proper dragon. This week's Melanin Mayhem maker is Mr. William Henry Hance. Crime cousins, let's go on ahead and do what we came here to do. So, William Henry Hance, he was born November 10th, 1951, to David and Mary Hance in Lexington, Virginia. David and Mary, they had one other child, a daughter, making them a cute little family of 4. David, he was a janitor. Miss Mary, she was a stay-at-home mama. For some reason, it appears that towards the end of her life, she was confined to a wheelchair, but by all accounts, William was a mama's boy. Oh, he stayed up in his mama's skirts. Everywhere she moved, he was right there. They say he was a quiet, polite child, you know. Teachers and his friends from the time say that everybody says again, he was a quiet boy, that he was happy-go-lucky, and that he also had a lot of friends. And his friends was like the smarty pants variety, you know what I'm saying? He was the type that always hung out with people that were smarter than him, okay? And he graduated from Lexington High School in 1971, and right out of high school, he joined the Marines, right? Now, mind you, up until this point, you know, at 1971, he's 20 years old, so it took him, you know, a little while. I'm assuming he repeated a grade or two, but up until this point, he is a model citizen, like Boy Scout type. Never got in any kind of trouble with the law in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Well, I take that back. He did have one little infraction, a whole ass parking ticket. But that's not the usual, you know, can't get right type of nigga that we dealing with when we talking to Melanin Mayhem. William graduated, like I said, he went straight into the Marines. And somewhere around 1974-ish, he gets married to this chick named Wanda, right? And they get pregnant soon thereafter. Now, I don't know what they got pregnant before or after the marriage. Not my business. But I do know that they was married, and it wasn't a fairy tale by a long shot. At least not according to Wanda. Yeah, Wanda said William used to lay hands on that ass regularly. He was violent, and he would just beat her for no reason. You told Harpo to beat me. My bad. I watched Color Purple yesterday. So, but yeah, Wanda said that William would just throw her around like a rag doll. And on top of that, he had community penis. He liked to share that thing with the women's that would do something strange for a little piece of change. One of them. Now, William stayed in the Marines long enough to make rank of sergeant, which is around about 5 years. And then he decided he needed a change of scenery. So he got out of the Marines, and then he joined the Army. Yeah, landed in Fort Benning, Georgia, April 3rd, 1976. So, you know, Wanda, the wife, she tried to perform her wifely duties, but shit got hard. And baby, after William made the switch, he put them hands on her one too many times. And baby, Wanda throwed the deuces to their marriage. They were officially divorced on March 17th, 1977. And Wanda dipped back to her hometown of Williamsburg, Virginia with their 3-year-old daughter and did not look back. So, you know, William out here on his own now. And it's bad because it's like the women in his life won't stay, right? He love them, but they not here no more. Mama died in 1971. And now his wife, 6 years later, she an ex and she don't want no parts of his ass. So William just out here floundering, I would say. And I think, my own personal opinion, that his wife leaving him was the straw that broke the serial killer wide open in him. Because not too long after his wife caught the midnight train out of Georgia, the killing started in Columbus, Georgia. Now, I'm going to tell you, to everybody on the outside looking in, William was an all right dude. You know, he was a good soldier, and by all accounts, he just blended in. But, you know, behind that clean-ass uniform, your boy was struggling. I don't know if it was low self-esteem because, you know, again, mama gone, wife gone. He just out here, possibly some head injuries, or maybe he's just mad. You know, that anger that's bubbling right below the surface. And now, let me explain something. I say that he might have had some type of head injury at play here because while he was in the Army, William apparently was a boxer. And maybe it was one too many blows to the dome, knocked some shit loose, and, you know, I don't know. But I do know, here I go again, trying to find a reason for the foolishness. And by the foolishness, I mean the felonious murderations of the women in Columbus that started jumping off right around this time. So, picture it. It's 1977, 1978, outside of Columbus, Fort Benning, which is one of the top 10 biggest military installations in the country, so it's a pretty big size, right? And if you've never been to Columbus, Georgia, it's about an hour and a half southwest of Atlanta, going down Highway 85. And I'm going to tell you, in 77, 78, 88, 98, it was country as hell. You know, and then, like now, the military base is where it was hidden. Everything kind of orbited around the base, and I'm talking all types of commerce, whether we're talking nightlife, you know, the bars or the clubs. You could always find a soldier somewhere around spending some change, blowing off some steam. So the base kind of propped up the economy in Columbus. Soldiers spending them military coins on all types of things, right? So Columbus was also in the 70s a city that was split by class and color. If you remember from the Stocking Strangler, I delved into that a little bit. You know, downtown on this side of the tracks, you had the white collar peoples in their little cute little houses living life. And then there were other people, aka the Negroes, that was surviving however they could, the best way they could, by any means that they could. And in Columbus, this smaller country city, it was also going down criminalistically. You see, the murderations was popping the fuck off for such a small city. Because you remember I told you, there was another killer actively killing in Columbus at the same time. We talking about the Stocking Strangler. Remember, that was the dude that was murdering the elderbuns. You remember. I know you remember. And if you don't remember, just go back and listen. The episode is named The Stocking Strangler. Well, the police and the media, they was obsessed with catching this motherfucker because the Stocking Strangler was out here taking the elderbuns out. And it was causing all kind of fuckery and foolishness in the streets, right? But the Stocking Strangler was not the only motherfucker out there cutting off women's water. But you know, senior Caucasticals is out here getting murked. That shit took precedence over any other murderations, and as such, that allowed for another killer to kind of slip and slide right under everybody's noses. So while the elderbuns killations had the police and the sour creamians turned, there was a whole nother set of killations happening at the same damn time that somebody was getting away with. Most of the victims were Wakandians, right? They were sisters. But there was one member of the Elmer's Glue crew that caught that shit too, but you know, she was young and she didn't fit the profile for the elderbuns killer, the Stocking Strangler, so they just figured she was just a one-off anomaly, right? But I'm gonna tell you how this shit all went down because it's crazy. So the killations, they really are not what's center stage on this story. Yes, it's horrible. Some people's got disconnected. Horrible. But there is some negacity at play here that just kicks the fuckery up a notch. Like, let me tell you something. The killer, this one who was sliding up under the radar that nobody knew anything about, he was sending love notes to the police and the Ledger. The Ledger was the local newspaper in Columbus, right? So yeah, they started getting handwritten letters signed by, wait for this, the forces of evil. Yeah. And here's another little tidbit. These handwritten letters, they were written on U.S. Army stationery. Let that just sink in for a minute. Not no regular notebook paper that can't be traced easily, but the goddamn Army letterhead paper that only people who work on the base got access to. Okay, let's move on. So this first letter, it came March 3rd, 1978, and they sent it to the police chief of the Columbus Police. And the letter said something to the effect of, we decided to come here and try to catch the Stocking Strangler or put more pressure on you. And to do so, from now on, black women in Columbus, Georgia will be disappearing if the strangler is not caught. The first victim gonna be a whore named Gail Jackson. Oh, she already been snatched up. And she going to the upper room if the Stocking Strangler is not apprehended by June 1st, 1978. And we gonna kill 2 more black bitches if the motherfucking murderer killing the elderbuns is still free by September 1st. Nay, the fuck? I know, right? I'm telling you, these letters, and it was 3 in total. Oh, they were threatening. They were supposedly being written by 7 Flower Rangers. These 7 Flower Rangers, they made up the forces of evil. Baby, they would send these letters to the cops and to the newspaper, but they wanted to talk. They wanted to have a dialogue with the cops. So they told them in the letters that, hey, you can talk back to us by getting on the radio or getting on TV. And talking, we'll see it, we'll hear it. What? Are you fucking serious, Nay? Abso-fucking-lutely. Unfortunately, y'all, I am dead ass. So wait a minute. Just to recap, what the fuck went down? We got the Legion of Doom saying that they were some lice landlords from Chi-Town, and they was not pleased that the elderbuns was getting killed in Columbus by a Negro. And the police needed to put the donuts down and get up out their asses and find these motherfucking niggers with the hard ER that was killing Petunia and them. And if the police needed some motivation, then the Force MDs, they had a hostage, a black woman named Gail Jackson, and they was gonna kill her if the police didn't do their damn job. This is the kicker, though. Even though the letters didn't stop, there was some more after this first one. Gail, we gonna come to find out, was already dead. So, Gail dead. The letter's been sent. And I guess they didn't get the response on the TV or the radio. So, the Force MDs, they followed up with a phone call. Hey, did y'all get my letter? Like, what? Yes. So, I'm going to tell you, the Columbus police, they said that they tried to find Gail Jackson, but they didn't have nobody in Columbus that fit the description. But what they did come up with was this coochie saleswoman named Brenda Gale Faison. And sometimes Brenda Gale Faison went by Brenda Gale Jackson. And Brenda Gale Faison Jackson, whichever she was at the time where she needed to be, this black woman had been missing since February 28th. 1978. This is before the letter was sent, right? They said Miss Gale was hanging out at the bar and she was never seen again. And of course, a missing persons report had been filed. But you know, Brenda Gale being a purveyor of poussey and melanated to boot, that meant her disappearance was low, extra low priority, if you know what I mean. So, we got Brenda Gale Faison Jackson, whichever. She's gone, right? The letter been sent, a phone call been made. The stocking strangler still ain't been found. He's still out here fucking the elderbuns up, right? So then the next letter came 10 days later on March 13th, 1978. And that one was like, oh, you think we playing with y'all? The motherfucking Force MDs is not to be fucked with. And guess what? We gonna kill another black woman just to show you not to test our gangster. But wait a minute, y'all. Here is where the negacity gets kicked up another notch. The second letter said, I'm going to tell you what, if y'all can't find the motherfuckers that's killing senior Salt Gang women off, y'all can just give us $10,000 ransom, and that'll stop us from killing the next black victim. So, let me get this straight. You gonna kill a sister till somebody figure out who killing Matilda now. Or you want 10 bands and you'll just let the shit slide. Sir, your elevator don't even work, do it, huh? You just taking the stairs. You out of breath, huh? Are you serious? Like, this man literally tried to disguise his own crimes by pretending to be a group of white vigilantes out here killing black women. But mind you, by the time the second letter has come around, they still ain't found Brenda. They ain't found nobody. They ain't seen nobody. They just got letters coming saying that the shit is happening behind the scenes. And I understand that in the light of day of 2025 eyes, this shit sound dumb as fuck. but you gotta think, this was the late 70s. And from that vantage point, looking at it from a 70s lens, it was kind of genius. I mean, the nigga weaponized racism to his advantage. He knew that the city would believe anything that fit its racial biases. And I don't know if y'all remember the particular details from that episode of The Stocking Strangler where Carlton Gary's ass was choking out the elderbuns around the same time when this was going on. When them white folks found out that it was a black man taking the elderbuns out, because remember, the medical examiner found pubic hairs and he said they belonged to a Negro man. When them white folks found that shit out, baby, remember, the KKK came to patrol the scene because they was not going to have the unseasoned being taken out by a black man. And they were ready to string a nigga up. So when these letters, when they started showing up, it fit the mood of the situation. And for a while, the police and the media, they all really did believe that it was a group of flower rangers out here getting their lick back. Shut the front door. Woo, woo, I told y'all. And just like before, a follow-up phone call to the police. Hey, y'all got my letter? And the police ain't got no comment. They ain't making no statements. So the Grand Master of the Legion of Doom said, oh, y'all playing with my emotions. Y'all really think this shit a game, huh? So then, here come the third letter. That was sent 2 weeks later, around March 27th, 1978. Now, this letter told them that the forces of evil had snatched up another woman, and her name was Irene, and the clock was ticking on that ass. They're gonna cut her water off June 1st. That's a long-ass time to keep Irene alive. Goddamn, it's March, April, May. You gonna keep her for more than 60 days? That's okay. So, the police, they don't know, these white folks might be capable of doing this, so they do a little digging. And damn it, if a woman named Irene Thurkel was actually missing. The last time anybody seen Irene was March 16th, when she was seen kicking it with a soldier at a bar. Who the soldier was, don't nobody know. So, it's early in the morning, March 30th, 1978. Another phone call is made, but this time, instead of calling over to the police department where you been sending these letters and been making these phone calls, this time, this phone call was made to the MPs. MPs is military police on the base at Fort Benning. That's a change. The caller said, hey, the police is moving a little too slow for my taste, so let me tell you what you can do. You can go over here to this little spot over here I'm about to tell you about, and I left a little surprise for you. And that is when we come across the body of Gail. Yeah, honey, 21-year-old Gail Jackson, a.k.a. Brenda Gail Faison, was found on the side of Casetta Road, which is right on the side of Fort Benning. But here's the thing. Old Gail had been dead for a minute by the time they found her. Like at least a month and some change. And Gail was fucked up too. What was left of her, this motherfucker damn near caved her whole face in. Like opened up the most supersized can of whoop ass that he could find on Gail's ass, right? So now, New Orleans Nation, I want you to understand, I need to point this out again. Remember, the killer did not call Columbus police to report what Gail was. He called the military police. Now, who would do that? Right now, even if you lived near a military base, I don't care where. I know we got one in Warner Robins, too. That's Robins Air Force Base. Dobbins Air Force Base ain't too far from me now. If I needed to call an emergency number or tell a law enforcement person something, I don't know the number to the military base, and I don't think I would necessarily think to call the military base. I'm going to call 911 or maybe get a local police department number, sheriff's department number, but I would never think about calling the military police? Who would think about calling the military police? Somebody in the military. You sending letters to the cops, but you calling the MPs to drop a dime on where the body at? Okay. You leaving clues, dude. So, they found Gail's body. 4 days later, here comes another phone call to the MPs. This time the killer say, hey, go over there by the shooting range. I left another surprise for you. Remember, in the last letter, he told the cops that his next victim had been snatched up, but he told the MPs where they could find the body. The body is on base by the shooting range. The MPs went over to I think it's called the Mayton's range, and I be goddamn if they ain't find Irene. Ooh, baby, but Irene had lost her head. Literally. Irene Thurkel was 32 years old. They found her on that rifle range on April 3rd, 1978. I'm talking about beat to sleep. And of course, she had been raped. Literally, her head was not on her body anymore. Like, completely gone. Face off, neck off, head off. They found skull fragments just scattered all around. Now, understand, you got to really be beating a bitch for all you got, for old and for new, with the strength of all the ancestors that ever ancested, to make a bitch's head just shatter to the point where just skull fragments are just flying and popping everywhere. That's trifling than a motherfucker, because that woman did not deserve that. What the fuck? So the MPs, they do what they do. They collected some shoe impressions because it wasn't a lot, to collect from the scene. The murderation of a couple of black women who may have had, shall we say, less than conventional ways of earning money, that was not high on anybody's to-do list. Certainly not the Columbus Police Department. And, they had their hands full with the elderbuns killing, right? So while they were looking for the elderbuns killer, the stocking strangler, they had reached out and got resources, some help. The FBI was consulting, and they was like, you know what? We appreciate you what you're doing about these elderbuns, but we got this other thing over here. These folks called the forces of evil, and they look like they fucking some shit up around here with the blacks. Can you take a look at this and give us any type of insight, Tell us what you think we should be looking for, you know what I'm saying? So the FBI, they had their profiler work up a little something on this killer. And the profiler was like, hey, let me tell you something. The Legion of Doom, it's one black dude. And that black dude is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Clearly, he likes sex workers. Go hit up the clubs. Ask around. I'm sure you'll be able to find who killed these two women. And it'll be your guy. At the same time, while Columbus police didn't have no time, the MPs, they had time because remember, the bodies were found outside the base, right on the base, and somebody is actually calling them with directions on how to find said dead bodies, so they doing their own investigation too. And the calls that came into the MPs, those calls were recorded. And they also have a log of the number where the calls came from. So one of the investigators, the military police investigators, they listening to the calls and just had a little sense of deja vu. I know that voice. I know that voice. Who is that? And the Columbus police is kind of staying hands off. This is military business. We're going to let y'all do what y'all do. But they did share that, hey, y'all might want to go check out the bar and see if y'all can, see some things. They say this dude that you might be looking for, he liked the ladies, and he probably gonna pick them up at the bar. So that's what the MPs do. They go to the bar, and they ask a couple of questions, and the streets did what the streets do. Start dropping dimes. And they said that, Gail, she had a dude that she was always with when he was around. Yeah, that regular. What his name is? William. Yeah, William Hance, that's his name, and he's stationed over there at Fort Benning. He a soldier. He a truck driver for the artillery unit. And so the investigators was like, wait a minute. That's the voice on them motherfucking calls. That's who it sound like. That nigga William. So now, the MPs, they want to go have a chat to see what the fuck is up with E4 Specialist Hance. Baby, all of this shit took place in the span of 24 hours since that last body was found. Oh, baby, they was not playing with that ass. They snatched William ass up later on that day, right before midnight, April 3rd, 1978. The CID, that's the Criminal Investigation Unit for Fort Benning, the military detectives, oh yeah, they had questions about them two women that came up dead on their property. They had questions about them phone calls and them handwritten notes on Army stationery. Baby, they interrogated William for 18 hours. And when it was all said and done, William was signed, sealed, and delivered. He gave them a whole ass confession that said it was I did them killations. But this is the thing. William, they knew about them too. William and them got to talking to them, told them about some more shit that they didn't even know nothing about. Baby, William said, hey, yeah, I did them. Them two was me. But I also disconnected another woman before I did them too. CID was like, say what, say who? What you talking about, Willis? And the verbal diarrhea continued. Baby, William confessed to killing Karen Hickman. Now, she was a soldier, 24 years old. They found Karen Hickman in a ditch off Highway 27 the year prior on September 6, 1977. Now, Karen, she wasn't found too far from the women's barracks on base. Baby, naked as a newborn baby. Child, tell me why this nigga beat the brakes off Karen. Not only beat her, but he also ran her body over several times. Like drove over, backed up. Drove over, backed up. Like, goddamn. Just what nigga? Are you serious? But I also want to call to the fact that this is 77. This is a few months after his divorce is final from his wife. And the anger that I'm seeing exhibited on poor Karen's body sounded to me like a nigga that couldn't do it to his wife. So he did it to the next best thing. But I am speculating up, down, and sideways. These are just my opinions. You might agree with me. But that's a little overkill, right? And this was the first killation, at least the first one that he has confessed to, that we didn't know nothing about, right? I'm just timeline-wise. That's what it looked like to me. So, yeah, beat the brakes off Karen, drove over her ass, used her as a goddamn road. And at the time when they found Karen in 1977, because understand they found her after she was killed, they didn't know who, what, they didn't have no clues. And a month after she was found, somebody made an anonymous phone call and told the MPs where they could find Karen's clothes. Now, who the fuck keep liking making phone calls? And the MPs went out and they did indeed find Karen's clothes. But they didn't, at the time, they didn't have a clue about finding who the fuck killed Karen. Baby. Now, at first, they thought that she might have been a victim of the stocking strangler. But she didn't fit the MO. She was beaten, she was ran over, and Karen was young. Oh, yeah, she fit the profile in the fact that she was a member in good standing of the Salt Gang. Baby, Pearls was clutched for a moment when they found Karen's ass. I mean, for the people listening to this confession now, it was one thing for Willie to be out here taking out his own kind. But you mean to tell me you unalived or unseasoned woman too? Oh, that's unfucking acceptable. But then they was like, you know what? We're gonna let it ride though. Cause guess what? Karen had jungle fever. Oh yes, honey, she went black and never came back. Y'all know in the 70s, that was still kind of taboo. And in the South, deep South, Columbus, yeah. So since Karen liked the taste of the Mandingo side of things, the Army, let's just say that they didn't put up much of a fuss about this white woman who ended up dead on the base, right? I'm just gonna leave it at that. So we got William has confessed to 3 murders, wrote that shit all the way down. And this is how it shakes out, right? It was decided that since Karen was in the Army, that Columbus, they would let the Army handle Karen's case, and as well as Irene, because she was killed on Army property too, right? She was over there by the firing range. Gail, close to Army property, she was right outside the gates, but technically, that's a public street, so the city of Columbus, they will prosecute William for Gail's death, and then the Army will follow suit with something for Karen and Irene. So, the very next day, April 4th, 1978, the Army passed William over to the Columbus police because, you know, it ain't no fun if your homie can't have none. In Columbus, they charged Willie with Gail's murder, and the Army said, you know, we'll wait until all the civilians have finished their cases and did their sentencing and whatnot before we move on with our portion. On December 11th, 1978, William is going to trial for the murder of Gail Jackson. They've also given him an extortion charge because remember in them letters he asked for $10,000? That's extortion. No. So you have a charge for that too. So Judge Kenneth Followill, he was the judge presiding over the case. So Henry, you know, he's not the smartest, not the brightest, not the sharpest. He has decided that he is going to be his own lawyer and defend his own name. Okay, sugar. But please let your client know that he a goddamn fool. I mean, he had shadow counsel, a real lawyer that was riding shotgun to make sure that, you know, shit didn't go completely off the rails that was appointed by the court. His name was Richard Smith, right? And so the prosecution, for their case, they had the confession that he did with the MPs. They had handwriting samples. They had voice samples. They had those shoe impressions. Pretty much cut and dry, right? When William got up there, he put his dad and a couple of his aunties and his uncles on the stand to say that William wouldn't hurt a fly. And he never, ever was anything but a sweetheart and a gentleman. I mean, look at him. Don't he look sweet? And sir, maybe as a kid, you were sweet, but as an adult, oh, you was a murdering murderer that murdered, and you would have got away with it if you hadn't felt the need to send letters on stationery from your job and make calls that could be traced back to you. And baby, the jury felt the exact same way as I. On December 16th, 1978, they found William Hance guilty of murdering Gail Jackson, and they sentenced him to death. And for that extortion charge, they gave him 5 years. If you make it through death, when you got back, you still got 5 more to do. A mess. Just like petty. How you get somebody a death sentence and then be like, oh yeah, and for that other charge, 5. I can't. So then it was the Army's time to tenderize that ass. He was court-martialed for Irene and Karen, and they hit him with 2 counts of premeditated murder the following month, January 30th, 1979, and they found him guilty for that shit as well. They sentenced him to life in prison doing hard labor. But you know, the court-martial was just for show because Georgia, having given him a death sentence, oh, you can bet your ass they was gonna see that shit through. So Death penalty cases, y'all know, they come automatically with all kinds of appeals. Oh, now they trying to say that William was mentally incompetent, that he had a very low IQ, and all his appeals were denied. But right around the last ones, the stays of executions, and he goes before the pardon and paroles board one more time, and they like, fuck that shit, you up out of here, deuces, nigga. There's one thing that kind of stuck out about that very last appeal. This is like a day or two before he was scheduled to be executed. I mean, nigga, we gonna cook you 2 days from now. Denied. We already knew that because they've said that 100 times. But here's the thing. I don't even know if the pardon and parole board even actually really looked at his appeal. For real? Or they just was like, nope. Because when the paperwork that the denial, after they tell you no, they got to send you some paperwork to tell you in writing, hell no, right? When that paperwork came, within the hell to the no of the paperwork, they had another man's name in there. Like, it's paperwork for Renee Davis, but Stephanie Smith's name is in my shit. Like, excuse me, and you know what? I'm sure it was probably a typo, right? It wasn't no spell check or nothing like that at the time. They probably had a stack of we ain't fucking with you papers to send out, and somebody was just moving too fast. But I mean, damn, if you gonna kill me, can you at least make sure it's my name spelled correctly on all the documents? Don't be confusing me with some other bitch. Like, tell me you don't give a fuck what I said it. And one other thing came out right before the disconnection. There was a couple of jurors on the case, both women, 2 of them. And one of the jurors, a white woman, she said that the jury was full of racist motherfuckers. They was all in the jury room talking about fuck that nigga this, nigga that. And I'm like, duh. We talking South Georgia in the 70s. It was a whole damn courtroom full of racists. Shit, you surprised that some of them was on the jury? Okay. And then there was this one black lady juror with the racist white folks. This black woman says that she didn't vote for the death penalty, but that the rest of the jurors ignored her. And they went on ahead, and when the judge asked them, was it unanimous? They said, yeah. And then the judge went on and polled, you seen Law and Order. The judge polled the jurors, and one by one they said, yeah, we said death. Yeah, we said death, including said black woman. So, Sugar, I'm sorry, but if that actually happened, you had the time to speak your piece when the judge asked you, did you vote this way? I don't want to do it, Your Honor. Nope, I don't want to do this. But I'm saying, Suge, you kept quiet then, so keep your ass quiet now. Take that shit to the grave. I'm just saying, if folks kill me coming out 20, 30, 50 years later talking about, you know what? I don't know shit, bitch. If that's how you felt then, that's how you should still feel now. I told y'all Black Jesus is still working on me. Back to our little story. William Henry Hance was executed on March 31st, 1994, 16 years after the killation. He was electrocuted in Georgia's electric chair. He was the 18th person executed in Georgia since they crunked them executions back up. William Henry Hance was 42 years old. His final statement, quote, I'm sorry for what I did. I can't change it. I hope you find peace. End quote. And I'm out. I'm sorry. And that, New Orleans Nation, is the story of William Henry Hance. All right, y'all. We're going to keep it a buck, right? William Henry Hance was not insane in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't care what you want to say about his IQ. That motherfucker knew exactly what he was doing. He used the forces of evil letters as kind of like a game. He was misdirecting the investigators and basically feeding his ego. Like, you sending letters and making phone calls. You wanted this attention because nobody knew you were out there. You want this attention, but now it's time to pay the piper, right? And this is what makes it even more fucked up. He made up this racist hoax, basically, pretending that it was white men out here hunting down black women, hiding the fact that it was him, a black soldier, that was actually the predator. If you look at it on a more granular level, New Orleans Nation, Henry Hance's story, it really ain't about murder, at least not just about murder. It's also about who America as a nation chooses to see. Because when Gail Jackson's body was found, the city didn't hardly blink. Like, did nothing stop. Like, no fanfare. But a year prior, when Karen was found, that soldier, the base actually went on lockdown. Like, it was some shit. A white woman has been killed. Can't nobody move. We got to figure some shit out. Then they realized that she liked black dick, and, they let the lockdown come up. But it was the same killer. 2 women beat to death, 1 white, 1 black. Same killer, but a different outrage. Even the letters that he was writing, they played into that bias. I mean, he knew that the city would jump if they thought that white men was out here killing black women, rather than if they thought a black man was out here killing black women. And that's on God, right? And here's what's even crazier. Just pathetic. There was another black woman that was killed at Fort Benning a month after Karen was killed. A black woman named Gabrielle Badger. She was 22 years old. She was beat to sleep just like Karen. And in the light of today, with William having confessed to all of these murders, they feel for sure that he killed Gabrielle too. But they couldn't even be bothered to dig into her death to prosecute him for it. They just let the shit ride. And that's what systematic bias looks like. And even the goddamn criminals understand that shit. Now, after he was convicted, everybody come out the woodwork, the Monday morning quarterbacks and shit. They were talking about William, his IQ was low, Ryan, 76. That means he is borderline stupid. And ain't nobody trying to hear that. He was easily open to being suggestible. I don't think he fully understood the consequences. Bullshit. He knew it all. This motherfucker was manipulating the police and the military police. 2 different sets of police for weeks. He faked a whole plot scheme. He wrote letters and sent them, not only to the police, he also sent them to the newspaper. Oh, just in case the police don't tell nobody, I'm going to follow it up to make sure the media know that this shit going down like this. Dude, come on now. Ain't nothing low IQ about that. You weren't stupid. You a sociopath. Basically, you use racism as a camouflage. You use your uniform as a shield, and you use fear as a goddamn weapon. And for that, you deserve every motherfucking thing you got. You ain't here for me to really drag you no more. I can only assume that you are being dragged through the pits of hell. Lucifer got his pitchfork stuck deep in your ass. And I'm all right with that. It's what you deserve. Because guess what, y'all? When this story hit the news, it was always about the soldier, not the women. The forces of evil. That was the headline that you always saw. Very sensational, theatrical, almost cinematic, right? But them victims, them women who lost their lives, not even a paragraph. Even decades later, Netflix, they made a episode on Mindhunter, and they mentioned William. He was the creepy black soldier that wrote letters. He was a character. The women that he was killing didn't even make the case. And that is why Melanin Mayhem podcast exists. To give y'all the full story, the background, the juicy bits, the ugly shit. Not just the headlines. Ooh, honey. Let's go ahead and continue this conversation on social media, because y'all know I could be here all night and I got shit to do, and y'all do too. Y'all know how to get at me. I am Melanin Mayhem Podcast everywhere except for X. Over there, I'm special. I'm Melanin Mayhem PC. My email is wide open as well at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. Now, this week's Noir Nation shout out goes to Jabril Lene. Ooh, Jabril Lene left a 5-star review and she entitled it, Love It Here. I'm not sure how I found this podcast, but I am so glad I did. I even have a running list of what I can refer to the whites as. Sour creamians, Caucasic casserole counterparts, casserole brigade, chicken skin people, envelopians, Caucasoids, raisin in the potato salad clan, Caucasticals. But I do have a question. Do you think while you are writing your notes what to call them, or do you just use these terms on a regular? Good question, Jabril Lene. Sugar, first of all, thank you for the review. I appreciate you spending some time with me and taking the time to drop me a line. That's the icing on the cake. Now, as to your question, these names, let me tell you something. I am a product of the Deep South, and my grandmama and them used to use some very colorful language, and a lot of it stuck. A lot of it I've had to clean up because, woo, honey, you talk about racist people, all black people from the Deep South, baby. And so, and because I'm also a few sandwiches short of a picnic, at this point, it's almost a game to see what type of foolishness I can come up with to make y'all laugh. But also not totally offend my caucasical listeners because I do have some. Shout out to the saltines of the New World Nation. I see y'all. Appreciate your streams too, honey. So yeah, I love it. It's all designed to intrigue y'all, entertain y'all, as well as give y'all this information. And if that's what it takes to make you remember an episode on somebody crazy, then goddamn it, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, y'all. Again, thank you so much for taking a little piece of your day to spend it with your favorite country girl. I got to get out of here. Honey, it's Monday night. I got to cut this thing up and chop it and screw it and do what I do just to make sure that it is ready for you hot and fresh on Wednesday morning. So y'all know how I do what I do when I close the doors of the church. So y'all go on ahead and stay safe and stay vigilant. And remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, New Orleans Nation, and your favorite country girl is out of here. Mwah!
Woo-wee, Nana, you did that. Wow.